Welcome back to No Huddle, everyone, the show where we'll be predicting and covering the entire NFL season on a week-by-week basis. Week 4 is officially on the horizon. The past 3 have been absolutely insane. We've had a great start to the NFL season. Another 16-game slate. It feels like forever until we're getting into the byes, but I think this is the last week that we're getting all 16 games. So let's just jump right into it. So last week, I went a putrid 8-8. A lot of surprises screwed me over, and that brings my record to 33-15. A huge drop-off from the past 2, but hopefully we can improve it now. Again, 16 games to cover, so let's just start. Thursday Night Football, we got the Seahawks going up against the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm actually going to take the Seahawks in this one. I'm not fully trusting of the Cardinals. They kind of collapsed against the San Francisco 49ers. They could have easily won that game, and they didn't. And then the past 2 performances, they barely beat the Panthers, and they barely beat the Saints. Those 2 teams you shouldn't really be struggling against. So I think that they'll finally show that they're not that convincing. They're not that good of a team. And Seattle, when they played the Saints, they actually dominated them. So I think they're just a superior team. I trust Sam Darnold to make the plays now. I think JSN is going to be a key figure, as he's always been. And overall, I just think that the Seahawks are going to get a very comfortable victory. Moving on to the game in, I believe, is Dublin in Ireland, of all places. We got the Vikings going up against the Steelers. It's a neutral site game, and I'm taking Minnesota in this one. They have a really, really good defense, and the Steelers did barely anything against the Seahawks and against the Patriots, who I think have inferior defenses against the Vikings. I think they can force Aaron Rodgers into making multiple mistakes, and I don't think that the Vikings, led by Kevin O'Connell and Carson Wentz, I don't think they're going to turn the ball over as much as the Patriots did. So while the Steelers may still only get like 14 points or 21 points, I trust that the Vikings offense will get more than that. So I believe they'll win by around 10 or so. I think the Vikings will comfortably cruise past the Steelers. And now to the actual Sunday slate at the 1 p.m. We got the Commanders playing against the Falcons. I don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to play this one, but I'm still going to take the Commanders, even if they have Marcus Mariota. I just don't really believe in the Falcons now. Again, we've seen 6 games of Michael Penix, and we've seen nothing truly elite so far. We have more questions than answers when it comes to him. And if he plays like he did against Carolina, then the Commanders are easily going to cruise past them. The Marcus Mariota, we saw last week that he is very capable of leading the offense to points. Deebo Samuel has had a career resurgence. He looks a lot better. I think Scary Terry, is still going to have a good game. Dan Quinn is going to coach up some good defense. And overall, I just trust Marcus Mariota more than I do Michael Penix, which sounds really weird to say in 2025. But overall, I just don't trust the Falcons. I trust Bijan, but there's only so much that he can do before Michael Penix shows his usual self and makes mistakes. Now we got the Chargers playing against the Giants in Jackson Dart's debut. They're throwing him into the Wolves, and I don't believe it's going to go well. I'm not going to judge Jackson Dart at all based on what he does in this game, unless he wins, because this Chargers defense, led by Jesse Minter, He's an absolutely insane defensive coordinator. He's probably going to be a head coach next season. And overall, the Chargers are just a better team. That's not hard to figure out. They have the better quarterback, better running game, better receiving core, better defense, better everything. The Chargers should win this game very comfortably. They should make Jackson Dart's life hell. And the Chargers, I believe they're going to improve to 4-0, which would put them at a prime position to maybe take over the AFC West. Now we got the 2 terrible teams of the AFC South, 2 ugly twins, the Titans going up against the Texans. If the Texans don't win this game, then I don't know what I'm going to do. If the Texans don't win this game, then they're not making the playoffs. That's what I'm going to say. This is a must-win game for the Texans. They cannot lose to the Titans. The Titans are easily the worst coach team in the NFL. Brian Callahan is not going to last a year. He's going to get fired sooner rather than later. They're facing a rookie quarterback who hasn't even looked that great against all the defenses that he's played. And the Texans have one of the better defenses in the NFL. But if the Texans can't cross 20 points against a terrible Titans defense and against a terrible Titans team, then I'm off on them for the whole year. I'm not even going to be impressed if they win. Even if they win by 40, I'm not going to be impressed. This is just a game where they have to win no matter what. Texans win. Titans, they'll be 0-4. They're probably on pace to get the number 1 overall pick again, but all eyes are on Houston. No one cares about Tennessee. And now we got a much better game. This could be the game of the week, honestly. The Eagles going up against Tampa Bay. I know I doubted the Eagles last week and I paid the price for it, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take Tampa Bay on this one, and that's because the Rams do not have the edge over the Eagles. The Eagles, historically, with Nick Sirianni, they've gotten the better of the Rams. We saw it in 2020. We saw it last year in the playoffs and in the regular season, and we saw it now. Tampa Bay has the edge over the Eagles. We saw them beat them in 2021, in 2023, last year in the regular season. The Bucs are equipped to beat the Eagles. I think Baker Mayfield is going to have a better game than Jalen Hurts. I trust Emeka Egbuka more than I trust the Eagles receivers so far because I've only seen a half of them being very productive, while I've seen 3 full games of Egbuka being productive. It's kind of hard to say that name pretty fast. And overall, we saw Saquon not have a very productive game against the Rams, and the Buccaneers have an insane run defense. They've been historically great stopping the run for like the past 6 years now, ever since they got Todd Bowles. So I think that all those things combined, I'm going to take the Buccaneers, and it's also in Tampa Bay, which means Philly is going to a place where they haven't really won in a while. So I think they'll pick up their first loss of the season, and I think Tampa Bay is going to improve to 4-0. Now we got the Panthers versus the Patriots. Just 2 terrible games sandwiched between Philly and Tampa Bay. But I'm going to take the Patriots in this one. It's at home. If they can't win this game at home, then they might go 0-8 or whatever, 0-9, however many home games they have. The offense shouldn't be turning the ball over as much. Hopefully they finally use Trayvon Henderson instead of Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson. I don't think he'll have the same fumbling issues. But overall, I don't think they really have to fix anything outside of the turnovers. We saw them. They were really productive in terms of yards, and they would have been in terms of points. They would have hung 30 on Pittsburgh if it weren't for them fumbling. So I think they just have to keep the same game plan, just focus on ball security, force turnovers are out of Bryce Young. And I think that the Patriots should cruise to a victory. If they don't, then like the Texans, I might write them off as not being a playoff team at all. Now we got the Saints playing the Buffalo Bills. What do you guys expect? I'm taking the Bills in this one. It's arguably the best team in the NFL against the worst. If the Saints win, then this maybe has the makings of a ultimate trap game like we saw with the Browns and the Packers. But overall, I just don't think it's going to happen. Josh Allen's been too safe with the ball over the past calendar year or year and a half. It's just Spencer Rattler's probably not going to play well. I think Buffalo might even get some of their defensive guys back. So this game really should be a blowout. There's nothing about the Saints that have shown me that they can compete in a game against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. So I think the Bills are going to take advantage of an easy matchup with an extra 3 days of rest and improve to 4-0. Now we got the Browns playing the Detroit Lions. Can the Browns upset another NFC North team? In my opinion, no. I'm taking the Lions to win this one just because they have the way more explosive offense. I think their defense is capable of just stopping the Browns from doing anything. The Browns, I think, are still going to score 17 to 20 points, but I don't think the Browns defense is capable of stopping the Lions' explosive offense. I think Goff is still going to do a lot of things. I think the running game is going to work just as well as it did against Baltimore. I think Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams are going to have insane games. And overall, I think it's just a matter that it'll stay close for a quarter or two, but then the Lions are just going to pull away, maybe even drop 35 or 40, and they'll cruise to an easy win, which would improve them to 3-1. Now we got the Jacksonville Jaguars going to the Bay Area all the way across the country to play the 49ers. I'm taking San Francisco in this one. Nick Bosa is out for the rest of the year, which really sucks. The 49ers just deal with so many injuries on a year-by-year basis. But I still think they're the better team. I still think that their defense is good enough to give Trevor Lawrence discomfort. I don't trust what I've seen from Brian Thomas so far. We've only seen a couple of plays that show his true explosive ability. I don't know how they're going to use Travis Hunter in this game. And overall, I just trust. It's weird. I trust Mac Jones than I trust. I trust him more than I trust Trevor Lawrence. He'll make the key plays. He'll play with Christian McCaffrey well. And while the Jaguars' defense has been pretty good, they led the league in turnovers. I think that Kyle Shanahan's going to cook up a game plan that doesn't force Mac Jones to push the ball downfield all that much. Because if they hit 20 points, they'll probably win the game. So I think San Francisco is going to improve to 4-0 now. I think a lot of these teams are going to stay undefeated. And now we got one of the more tricky matchups of the week. We got the Colts playing the Rams. Will the Colts stay perfect? Sadly, I don't think so. I'm going to take the Rams in this one. The Rams were really close to beating Philly, but I'm not really going to focus on that. I think that they can force Daniel Jones to make some mistakes. I think that's That's what this game is going to be all about. Forcing a turnover. I think Stafford can play clean with the ball. He only made one mistake against Philadelphia last week. I think if he can play clean and if the defense can just force a fumble or an interception out of Daniel Jones, and if they can keep Jonathan Taylor at bay just like they kept Saquon, I think they'll have a better chance of winning this game. With it being at home, I think Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams will once again be great. And once again, they were a couple of kicks away from beating Philly, so I think they'll make those kicks this time with it being in a dome and not outdoors, and it won't get blocked this time, hopefully. I think that the Rams will pull off what would be the upset, and sadly, the Colts would fall to 3-1. Now we got the Chicago Bears playing the Raiders. I'm taking the Bears in this one. The Raiders have just not looked very good since they played in week 1. And even then, I think they were kind of lucky in beating the Patriots in that week. I just think that the Bears have shown a lot of improvement across the season. They went from their offense being dead in week 1 to it kind of waking up in week 2, and then it flourished in week 3. So I think we'll see more of that flourishing side. I think Caleb Williams is going to play well. And also, the Raiders' defense is not very good. They let Marcus Mariota look like a Pro Bowl quarterback. So I think they'll make Caleb Williams look good. And I think that the Bears are going to cruise to a 2-2 record. So I think that the Bears are going to bounce back in the Ben Johnson regime. And now we got the true game of the week, the AFC grudge match, a rematch of the 2023 AFC Championship game, the Ravens visiting the Chiefs. One of these teams is dropping to 1-3, which is absolutely insane to say at the start of the year, but that seems to be the case. Who will win, Lamar or Mahomes? I'm going to take Baltimore in this one. It's very hard to predict them just because their defense is extremely pitiful, but I don't trust the Chiefs' offense. I think Tyquan Thornton and Mahomes can produce well, but the running game was still not very good, even against the Giants. Kelsey wasn't great. The receivers are still not coming back. I don't think Worthy's going to play. I think he's still out. Rashee Rice is still suspended. And overall, I just trust Baltimore more to stay one step ahead of them on offense with Lamar making crazy plays, because it's not like the Chiefs' defense is this juggernaut like we obviously saw what Justin Herbert did to them. I think Lamar can do similar things. And again, it just matters to Derrick Henry not fumbling. If he carries the ball with two hands and doesn't fumble and give the Chiefs a short field, I think Baltimore is going to cruise to a convincing win, a statement win, and improve to 2-2, while the Chiefs, they'll have more questions to answer as they fall to 1-3. And now to Sunday Night Football, we got Micah's homecoming as the Green Bay Packers visit the Dallas Cowboys. I pray for Dallas in this one. I think Green Bay is going to dominate them. They're angry now that they lost to the Cleveland Browns last week, and the Cowboys just have no offensive firepower now that CeeDee Lamb is out for at least 2 weeks. Can George Pickens step up? I don't think so. Can Dak Prescott step up? I don't think so. I think that the Packers are going to first force multiple turnovers, maybe a Xavier McKinney interception, and maybe a couple Micah Parsons sacks. And even if the offense doesn't really produce much like they did last week, I think Jordan Love can make the capable throws against a terrible Dallas defense to win comfortably. I think that Micah gets his revenge, and the Cowboys drop to 1-3. And now we got the worst Monday night doubleheader in NFL history, starting with the Jets playing the Dolphins. Who in the right mind thought this would be a good matchup even before the season started? The Dolphins weren't even projected to be all that good, and now they're facing the Jets of all teams, but that's besides the point. I'm taking Miami to get their first win. We've seen Miami gradually improve and improve more, from looking like a team that belongs in my high school division to just an incompetent team to a slightly competitive team when they lost to Buffalo last week. Now they play the Jets, who aren't very competent. I think they'll finally look good. I don't think Tua is going to be put in a position where he has to make a game-winning drive. If he does, he's not going to convert. But this time, I think the Dolphins will prevail and get their first win of the season. And I don't think Tyrod Taylor is going to be capable of keeping up with what is still a half-decent Mike McDaniel offense. So Jets drop to 0-4, and the Dolphins, I guess, let their season last for another week, or they let the coach keep his job for at least another week. And ending the week in, once again, underwhelming fashion, we got the Bengals visiting the Broncos. If Burrow played in this game, maybe it would have been interesting, but now with even the Broncos regression, this game I think is going to be very boring. I might not even sit all through it. I need to get some more sleep. But I'm going to take Denver in this one, just because their defense is extremely ferocious still, I think. They forced Justin Herbert to have his weakest game of the season. We saw what they did to Cam Ward. They made Daniel Jones look good, but I think Jake Browning's a lot worse than Daniel Jones. Chase Brown has not had a good start to the year so far. And overall, if Bo Nix can't break down what is a not good Bengals defense, and if Denver doesn't win this, then it's truly panic time for them. And I'm not even sure if they can make the playoffs if they start 1-3. But the Bengals, they'll once again kind of look like they did against Minnesota without Burrow. They haven't made any moves so far at the QB position. So with Jake Browning at the helm, I don't expect big things from them. So Denver bounces back, and Cincinnati continues their free fall. And that will be all for this week. A lot of games to uncover, a lot of tricky matchups, a lot of boring matchups, especially the primetime games. I'm not all excited for that, but it's still the NFL, still should be fun. So if you enjoyed this, please subscribe and please like the video, as any support is truly appreciated. And I'll see you guys next week at the end of week 4.